My name's RJ Dewick. I've been a member of the Kelowna Running Club for about 9 years, and I served as president for 4 of those. Here we are in Sutherland Bay Park, which is at the base of Knox Mountain, right behind me, and this is the location of kind of core race for the Kelowna Running Club, the Hard Knox Challenge. The Peak to Beak race was challenging to say the least. In order to run this race, you had to have some really good hill training on your feet, on your legs. You had to be able to endure a 2-kilometer downhill power, and you had to have strong enough quads to be able to run then the next 10 kilometers before the next uphill. And that uphill was really tough. This became an infamous race because, elite level athletes found it really tough. And finally in 2015, we had to reimagine this race. We went through a lot of options, but we wanted to respect the original heart of this race and honor the people who started it. So we wanted to maintain some participation with Knox, and so we came up with the Hard Knox Challenge. So to describe the course then, it begins in Sutherland Bay Park, follows down Ellis as far as Manhattan Drive, turns right and then left to join the small trail through Rotary Marsh Park to Tugboat Bay. We then have a beautiful section along the boardwalk of the Kelowna waterfront that takes in some of our most recognizable landmarks. Just after the marina, you'll pass a bear statue in Stewart Park, and as you continue, you'll see the Sales Monument a few hundred meters further up the road. This section is followed by a counterclockwise loop of City Park before following the same route back to the start line. Now we have the tough uphill section along switchback trails and stairs that takes runners up almost 100 vertical meters to the Lower Knox Lookout. In the original race, this section was timed separately and we had awards for the fastest climbers. After catching your breath and enjoying the views, it's time for a rolling downhill trail section that leads to the main Paul's Tomb Trail. You stay left to continue along the trail onto Poplar Point Drive. As soon as you hit the road, you're inside another section of the course that was timed separately. This final mile was the place for runners to really stride it out and see what they had left in their legs at the end of a fairly grueling course.
When did we first hear about this race? Well, of course, we knew about the Kelowna Running Series, and I think it was RJ who came up with the idea to do a Hard Knox race.
Yeah, I remember doing the actual course a couple times. I was excited to try to incorporate that, and mentally the challenge of actually trying to do a flat course for 8K and then save enough that I had enough in me to do the hill and then the downhill, and it had so many factors to it. So when I'd heard about that, I thought it would be just fun, just a different experience than some of the other races that we were doing that year.
Would I say I'm a competitive person? Yes, I am. If I have to be true to myself, yes, I'm a competitive person.
Yeah, I would say absolutely. I remember thinking Rosalie and I were kind of in the same age group and competing against each other, and I got her on the uphill and then she got me on the downhill, and there's just all these various aspects to the course that made it really fun.
Well, how did the race play out on that day? As Leslie mentioned earlier, we were neck on neck basically throughout the race, and she was ahead of me on the uphill, but I managed to pass her on the downhill stretch. But we were so close I could practically hear her footsteps behind me. So you have the grueling uphill part, and then the very steep downhill, and then it's a flat stretch for about 1 kilometer, I think, to the finish line. And she was right behind me the entire time, and then passed me you know, probably 500 meters or even closer to the finish line.
But definitely crossing the finish line was, yeah, that was very exciting. Getting
Yeah,
across the
except
finish
I
line.
would have liked to have crossed ahead of her.
That was one of my lucky races that I got to. I was able to nudge her out at the end.
How many seconds ahead of me were you?
Oh, not very much. Yeah, under 10, I think.
It was literally seconds.
Yeah,
ahead.
it was so few. Yeah, just a few seconds. I was the other woman according to her family. And it wasn't until after Hard Knox that we really actually kind of really got to know each other. It was after this race, and then so it's been really nice, and become good friends out of that whole year. The end result, even though we were competitive, is that we've got a nice friendship now.